Ah, shit. You call me vibing, fam. Come on. Let's get into it. This one hits home. They told you that Africa was silent. They told you that history began in Greece or Rome, in white marble halls. They told you Egypt was something separate. They told you Kush was wretched, that Nubia was a land of shadows, a copy, a fucking footnote. They lied. And they lied on purpose. Because Kush was never silent. Kush was never wretched. Kush was an empire in itself. They were a rival of Egypt. They even conquered Egypt. The 25th Dynasty. They sat pharaohs on the throne. Piye, Shabaka, Shabiku, and Taharqa. Kush was the hammer that struck Egypt when Egypt was weak. Kush was the iron furnace that glowed when Rome thought they ran the world. Kush was the line in the sand that the textbooks tried to erase. Because the thought of Africa governing itself, controlling others, was too much for them to handle. This is the story of Kush. The story that European powers tried to bury, whitewash, distort, and pretend it never happened. Today, we're gonna dig that shit up. Kush begins long before Piye's armies marched north. At Kerma, around 2500 BCE, there are temples, palaces, graves where kings are buried with horses, gold, and sacrificed attendants. Not huts, not shadows. Civilization. An equal power rising as Egypt builds its own pyramids to the north. The Egyptians called it Taseti, the land of the bow, because Nubian archers were so feared, so precise, so deadly, that pharaohs kept them close as mercenaries. Egypt insults Kush in texts, calls them wretched, yet can't stop calling on that ass. But centuries later, Europeans dig into Kerma's ruins and claim it cannot be African. They call it an Egyptian colony. They refuse to believe that Africans built this on their own. This is the first crime of colonial archaeology. Erasure by denial. If greatness is found in Africa, it has to belong to someone else. Fast forward to the 8th century BCE. Egypt is broken. Petty dynasties, Libyan warlords, priests clutching at power. The throne of Pharaoh is cheapened, worn by too many weak hands. From the south comes Piye, king of Kush. He sees Egypt weak and knows the gods demand action. In 727 BCE, he marches north. He takes Thebes, the holy city. He storms Memphis, the ancient capital, and he records it all on the victory stela.
I am Pianki, son of Kush, beloved of Amun, whose name means hidden one, whose strength is without equal. I entered Egypt not as a thief, but as a purifier, for the gods demanded order, and I was chosen to bring it. I came with the blessing of Amun, with the power of Mut, with the strength of Khonsu. The kings of Egypt trembled at my approach. They bowed before me, pressing their foreheads to the dirt, and I placed my foot upon their necks, as the gods decreed. Those who defied me I crushed, and their names will vanish like dust in the wind.
European scholars later call him an invader. They refuse him legitimacy. They label his dynasty foreign rule, while Persian, Greek, and Roman dynasties are treated as part of Egypt's story. They diminish Kush because they cannot allow black pharaohs to sit in the narrative. That is the second crime of the European powers. Double standards carved into textbooks. Piye returns south, but his dynasty endures. Shabaka rules, preserving ancient Egyptian texts on the Shabaka Stone. Without him, entire branches of theology would have vanished. Shabiku holds the throne steady. And then Taharqa rises, the greatest of them all. Taharqa builds temples, irrigation, wealth. His name crosses continents. He appears in the Bible as Pharaoh of Egypt. He allies with kingdoms in Palestine, stands as a bulwark against Assyria. He is not a shadow. He's fucking international. But when Europeans write the story, they reduce him. A footnote, while filling chapters with Alexander or Caesar. They chose which kings mattered, not based on power, but on skin, on geography. This is the third crime of the European powers. Selective memory, where African kings become optional, disposable. Assyria comes like a storm. Esarhaddon marches, and the Kushites fight. They win one battle, lose the next. Memphis falls. Taharqa retreats. Ashurbanipal sacks Thebes, and the scribes of empire declare victory. But here's the truth. Kush doesn't die. Kush doesn't vanish. They head south again, regroup, and rise stronger. At Napata, then at Meroë, they forge a new empire. Meroë becomes the new heart. Iron furnaces, trade routes. They invent their own script, Meroitic, to write their own language instead of copying Egyptian hieroglyphs. They carve their own gods, their own art, their own path. And they build pyramids, not 4, but hundreds, more than Egypt, steeper, sharper, clustered around the desert. Kings, queens, nobles. While Rome parades marble, Kush stacks stone into the sky. Yet the scholars, later, they called these pyramids imitations. They diminished them as crude copies, unworthy of study. That's the fourth crime of the European powers. Cultural theft, where African monuments are dismissed until they can be extracted to museums and stripped of context. And then come the queens, the Kandakes. Queens who are not silent partners, but governors in their own right. Queens who command armies, negotiate treaties, and face Rome without fear. Amani Reanas. She leads her people against Augustus himself. She raids Roman forts, captures lands, and when she takes a bronze statue of Augustus, she cuts the head off and buries it under a temple door. So every worshiper steps on the emperor's head. Rome is forced to negotiate peace. Rome forced to compromise with Africa. But the historians, well, they erased her. They can't tolerate the image of an African queen, embarrassing Augustus. They paint her as a curiosity, a side note, a legend. That's the fifth crime of the European powers. Gender erasure, where African women are denied the crown that they wore. For 1,000 years after Egypt, Kush thrives. Long after Assyria's dust, long after Babylon falls, long after Greece burns, and Rome fractures, Kush still builds, still trades, still buries their dead in pyramids, until Aksum rises, trade routes shift, and Meroë declines. Not in flames, not destroyed, but transformed, absorbed into new powers. And here is the final crime of Europe. When they write the story, they end Kush in silence. They do not speak of its 1,000 years of survival. They do not show you the pyramids still standing in Sudan, more numerous than Egypt's. They feed you Cleopatra's romances and Caesar's conquests, but not the story of Africa that governed itself. It controlled Egypt, defied Rome, and left monuments in the sand that refused to bow. Kush was never wretched. Kush was never silent. Kush was the Pharaoh. Kush was an empire. Kush was Africa, uncensored. The Europeans who dug the graves, who stole the statues, who locked Nubian treasures behind the glass in London and Paris, they lied. They chose to cancel civilizations. They chose to bury Kush under the weight of their own arrogance. But the sand still holds the truth. The pyramids still stab the sky. And today, we remember. Not because a textbook told us. Not because a museum permitted it. But because Kush will not stay erased. This is the lesson. History is not fixed. It is contested. It is a war fought with chisels and pens, with theft and silence. And if Kush could be erased, then all of history must be questioned. Every page, every lecture, every statue, every word. Question it, challenge it, tear it down. Because only then does Kush rise again. Not as a footnote, but as what it always was, an empire. Africa, uncensored. This has been the Time Machine Diaries. If you like the show, support us at THO420 on Patreon. Share the story. And remember, empires don't last. Stories do. And Kush still lives. Take care. Be safe. One love.
Sometimes you gotta pray for a victory. Yeah, I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been tested so much, all these wrestlers nice. All these different situations that I've been through. I seen pain trying to creep in through the window, but now I'm sliding through the hood in a benzo. You gotta separate yourself just to elevate. I keep some drink in my cup to see through the hate. Sometimes on the road to glory, you gotta press the brakes. I got a lesson plan for all my past mistakes. I swear I'm proud of all my best and my worst days. Proud of all my feet when I touch the ground. Front of 8 at Beijing, man, ain't know the sound. I know I made mistakes, but my mama proud. Fans scream my lyrics out in the background. They ain't know me then, but I'm hot now. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. Life down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. I'm faced with a lot of different choices these days. Do a rock and roll Lex account of blue face. The whole world know my name off a mixtape. I still got the same brothers since 6th grade. G-Wagon red seats, we on Biscayne. Trips to the Florida Keys, we imported these. Thanking God for the life he afforded me. All this jewelry on my body, I could like the hood. I need a brown skinned chick just like Megan Good. Holding up every promise that I ever made. Music in the background, it's a serenade. Been rapping 10 years, boy this ain't a phase. I paid dues, paid rent, and I stayed the same. I had teardrops running down my face. I've been through a lot, I had real pain. But thank God, cause we really on a better days. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. Life down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. What's a life without sacrifice? Sometimes you gotta thank God and just roll the dice. Pacino.